Initially, John and me, we got busy with our respective projects, and we were constantly talking about making the film, but we were not getting the right script and the right director. And then we both sat down once we had a little free time and decided to go and meet Abhinay to come on board. We met Abhinay, we told him about the Force. He liked the idea of doing Force 2, and then the search for the right script began. We wanted to make it bigger, better. We wanted to take it into international borders. We wanted to have a subject which was just not cop dealing with a bad politician or a criminal. We wanted a subject which was far more important and relevant. So when we found this particular script, we thought this has everything. It's a brilliant subject, very relevant and very true to our society and our country today. Deals with the spies, and when a spy gets caught across the border, what happens to him and his family, and how government disowns him, because that's the protocol, diplomatic protocol. And it allowed us to take the character of ACP Yashwardhan, which was John's character, into international borders, and we wanted Abhinay to come on board because the kind of stylized filmmaking he is associated with, and also the kind of realism he blends in the style that he brings on table. So we thought he was the best director to make this film. So when all these things came in together, and we saw the vision that Abhinay had for the film, we were absolutely sure that this was the film to be made, and that's how it was made. No, there is no reason, and there is no why not Nishikant. It was about where we thought the film had to go, and we wanted a different vision, because 5 years a lot changes. The cinema changes, the country changes, the political scenario changes. We wanted a new director to come and give that vision of today to the film, which was obviously going to be different than the original one. And I think that's where Abhinay was the best choice, because he's really given it the look and feel of international cinema, what today's audience expects, and he's been able to look at the film slightly more differently than probably I would have looked at, or John or Nishikant would have looked at, and that's what makes it fresh and new. So I think a take that Abhinay had on the film was very important for the sequel, and I think in that sense it's been a best decision that we've taken.
It's actually not difficult or tough, it's actually helpful, because somebody has really worked hard on the first part, where a beautiful character has emerged out of that hard work. So if it's, as a matter of fact, it's very helpful, because that character is something that you got in inheritance, to say that here there is ACP Yashwardhan, a righteous cop, these are his pluses and these are his minuses, this is in front of you. Now to start from that point becomes easier on one level, if you want to look at it from that perspective, because one character, which is a very strong character, which already audience have loved, is something that you already have in your pocket. Now you need to build from there onwards. So to my mind, I look at it as an advantage rather than as a disadvantage. I've been making 16 films, as a matter of fact, in the sense of between Delhi Belly and Force 2. There have been 2 seasons of 24, which are as good as 16 films, because it's 24 hours of content. So that was a conscious decision made from my side to say that I didn't want to go and make a film because my previous film was a hit. I wanted to delve into television for a little bit, because it was my dream to kind of take television and make it push the envelope of television ahead. Plus, another important thing is you need to stumble upon a good script. And in today's day and time, many people turn around and once they get an actor on board, script becomes secondary, which shouldn't happen. In my case, it was always that I wanted to get a great script. I needed to have something that I can say through my script. The minute I got it, I signed it, and we are seeing Force 2 right now. So I don't really bind myself in time.
He is formidable in his own way. He has a mind which is way more powerful than other people. He is extremely uh, wacky and cracked character, the way Abhinay has executed it. So he may look like a very small man, but well, then Hitler was also a small man, right? So not necessarily that small man cannot be evil. He has a very different mind, and that mind is the real evil in the film. And the way he's portrayed is fantastic. So Abhinay had a very clear thought about how he wanted the villain to be. And again, it was part of the same design that we want to look at force in a new light, completely different. So there was no point repeating, trying to find another Vidyut Jambal. It was about trying to find somebody who is not Vidyut, and yet he can be a very formidable villain. And that's what Tahir is. When we were writing, the character was written, and it could have been a male character because she's a raw agent and she fights shoulder to shoulder with John. So it could have been a male character, but we decided that in today's time, girls are no less than boys. They are, in fact, in every part of society, they are matching footsteps with boys, and in fact some areas they are way ahead of boys. So this had to be a female character. And also we know that Sonakshi can do really terrific action. We've seen it in Akira. So in that sense, Sonakshi was a great choice, and again, she looks like a raw agent. She's got a great personality. She looks very good with John. She's also tall and well built, so they look together very nice. And so yeah, Sonakshi is that way a perfect choice. That is something that Abhinay can answer.
He very nicely diverts that question to me.
No, I think because now Force is as much Abhinay's film as it is mine or John's. So it's largely his decision.
It's become a known franchise, so people
Yeah.
pick up in the space of Rambo or say Rocky.
Yes. Yes.
See, the idea is that I think we have embarked on a very interesting space with Force as a franchise, which is, in the first part it said something, in the second part it's upped the game by saying something very pertinent where it's got to do with the country. The minute we have something pertinent to say, and we feel that ACP Yashwardhan and his world is the best way to take that subject or that in front of people, most certainly we'll come with part 3. And we will definitely, one thing is for sure, that we will not make part 3 because part 2 did well or part 1 did well, that we must make a part 3. It will be made because it needs to be made more than anything else. So I think it's a collective decision of Vipul, John and myself that we will soon think about it and come. If we stumble upon something interesting, then definitely yes.
I think here the character is common, but the story is totally new. So it's, in that sense, it's not a sequel, but it's a sequel because we are following the character which was very popular and very well performed by John. I think the reason to make a sequel has to be right. If you make a sequel just because the first one is a hit, then more often than not you will fail. But if you have a story which is superb, and that story can be a sequel to a successful film, then it's the right reason to make a sequel. If this was not called Force 2 and something else, I would still go ahead and make this film because this film is by itself very important. It's a superb subject which needs to be made. It so happens that it becomes Force 2 and the franchise model goes forward. But it's by itself the subject is worthy of being made.